Hey, dude. So you really expect me to believe that you never podcasted or did any kind of radio before? Really? Come on. I'm not an idiot, dude.
And this is for you.
So you ready to start?
Let's do it.
All right, cool. First question. What ignited the spark in you to start a new business venture? How did the idea for your business come about?
Do you really want to hear this whole story?
I think I've heard a little bit about it, but you can share it again.
Missy, you're going to have to shut the fuck up.
Sorry, I'm showing you core.
Well, do it quietly.
Okay.
I'm about to tell an amazing story about how Tri-Vegan came to be.
Alright, I just showed up.
Actually, go in a room somewhere.
I'm done.
Alright, thank you.
Do you want me to ask the question again? Or?
Yeah, do that. Just because the recording was bad.
What ignited the spark in you to start a new business? How did the idea for your business come about?
I was working in a retail position 6 days a week, 9 hours a day, from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. I worked every single holiday, every single weekend. I had to work a whole year with that schedule in order to earn 1 week off. I was off on a Tuesday, so it was a very difficult life. Life was beautiful, you know what I mean? But it was a very difficult way to experience society and experience life in America. You know, because if you're working from 3 p.m. to 12 a.m. every day, and it takes you an hour to get there, and then you have 1 day off, what do you do in that 1 day? How do you do your laundry? How do you maintain a family life? How do you maintain friends? It's like I felt so trapped. I felt so unbelievably trapped. I would apply to jobs and no one was hiring me. No one wanted to hire me. They said things like, I don't have office experience. You know, I'm not office trained. Like, what does that even mean? Like, am I gonna piss in the corner like a dog? Like, what is office trained? Mm-hmm. Like, I have an office in a building that I run. You know, like I can run a whole building. And I wondered what job I could have. You know, like what could I have? Like, could I be a payroll clerk? You know, like, can I do that? Can I be an HR person? Like, because right now I'm running an entire building with 200 employees working with, you know, thousands of people coming in and out of the day with refrigeration units, with, you know, a catalog of information as far as where everything was in the supermarket in my head. I had all this information, and could I limit it to one job? I don't know. But thank God what happened was, by a twist of fate, I had a conversation with someone a day before I had my third interview, because I was going to become a financial advisor. Mm-hmm. And me and this guy had a conversation. I told him I was really happy to become a financial advisor, and I was going to do that, you know, the next day. And we had been talking for a while, and he said, dude, with that brain, you can't do that. Like, you can't take people's money, not know if it's going to be okay, and then just tell them it's going to be all right. So I said, wow, like, I was feeling such a connection with this guy, and then I kind of lost it, like, because he was knocking what I was trying to do with my life. Mm-hmm. And then that night, I went to bed, and between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., it's like a rocket just landed right on my head. And it was like, you need to start a vegan restaurant. You need to call it Try Vegan, because you should get people to try veganism. And you should try to get all the information you know and pass it along to people. And it just became this thing. And from there, I realized that I needed to make this happen. So I wrote a 40-page business plan, because I was going to find an investor in a restaurant. Mm-hmm. I knew I was going to need $250,000 to $500,000. And at the time, I had nothing backing me other than, you know, I was a double major at Rowan. I majored in HR and business management. So I had those degrees behind me, and I had years of retail experience managing a lot of people. But I didn't have any business experience, so it was going to be difficult for someone to invest that much money in me. So I realized I was 26, living at home. I was working every single day. I have money saved up. If I take my own money, I can start a food truck. So within a week, I made that decision. I had a week off. And in that week, I rewrote everything, and I went in that Monday and quit. I said, listen, this is my 2 weeks. He saw it coming, because he saw how miserable I was. Mm-hmm. You know, I was so trapped. I would never wish that on anyone, because society's telling me I'm doing so well. Like, you have a job, you're making X amount of dollars, you know, look at you, you have a stable income, you have 401k, you have healthcare. Right. And I was living in, and I couldn't live that way. You know, the amount of people coming to me with, like, you know, who were thinking about killing themselves. You know, they're working at this job, and they're so miserable, and, you know, they that's how they feel. So I'm sitting in a room with them, trying to help them out. And I did that a lot, like, because a lot of people want to talk to me. So it was overbearing on my soul. Like, it was a lot. Like, these people have, you know, this one's kid is overdosing. You know, how do I deal with that when I'm 21 years old, trying to give this person advice? So
were those like your employees that you were managing?
Yeah, those are my employees. One time someone came in drunk. He came in drunk, and I didn't know what to do. I was 22 years old. It was Walmart. He came in drunk overnight shift, and he worked in maintenance. And I cared about him. So oh my God, everyone smelled it on him, right? Yeah. Everyone. So I say, listen, after I have my meeting, I need to talk with you. Bring him to my office. I'm like, listen, man, are you drunk? He goes, no, I'm not drunk. I'm like, listen, man, I'm not playing that game with you. You're drunk. Like, talk to me. Like, what's going on in your life? Like, why are you drunk right now? And he just starts crying. He just starts crying and telling me about how, like, he's losing his kid and his wife's leaving him, and, like, his heart's just broken. I'm just like, oh my God, dude. So procedure tells you fire this person. How can I fire this person? I said, listen, man, get a broom and just walk around and sweep the building all day. You know, don't talk to anyone, don't touch anything. Yeah. And
maybe get some mouthwash, some cologne or something.
Yeah, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, you know, he just went about his day, and, you know, it's just, that's just one time of something like this happening.
Right.
Like, a lot, like, this happened all the time. It's like crazy. So now I have this decision to start this whole food truck, right? So immediately as I have the idea, I go to my neighbor, Tony, who know and love him my whole life. And I said, listen, man, do you know anyone selling a truck? He said, actually, I have 2 trucks I'm looking to get rid of. If you want them, you can have them. You just pay my guy to clean them out, and they're yours. So like that, I was like, okay, I have to do this now. Like, the universe doesn't just give you that.
Right.
So I took that as a gift, and I took that as a sign. That's why I quit my job. So I quit my job, and from there built that food truck, and it took me a whole summer. So I started in the fall, from the fall to the spring, and that's how it started. Okay.
When did you become vegan? I know, like, how long were you working in retail and being a vegan at the same time?
So I became vegan because I was lactose intolerant. Okay. I was lactose intolerant when I was your age. I was in college, and I couldn't figure out why I would just shit my brains out all the time. I just couldn't figure it out.
That's my fucking nightmare.
So I thought it was the protein shakes I was having, but through process of elimination, I figured out it was dairy in my diet. So I learned about these things called lactate pills. So I started taking them, because apparently what happens when you're lactose intolerant is your body doesn't produce the enzyme to break down the lactase, or the lactose. So you have this lactase enzyme which breaks it down so your body can process it, which isn't natural. You know, like, I realized that after a while. That's kind of why I was like, let me cut that out, and let me just cut out the dairy. If my body's saying I shouldn't have it, I just shouldn't have it. I shouldn't fuck with it. So I cut out the dairy, and from there I said, all right, if I can cut out the dairy, which is the hardest part, let me try cutting out the meat. The plan was to cut the meat out for a week. I cut out the meat, and I said, okay, I feel great. I like the way I feel, I like the way how I'm waking up in the morning, I like the way my skin looks. I think I'm going to keep doing it. And that's literally how my life changed.
Nice.
Because from there, you know, you see where I'm at.
And so you said you got this dream, like the universe was telling you to start a vegan food truck. Was that like the only motivation you had, or did you have any other motivation to start any other business?
You know, I always knew that I was going to do some kind of business. I didn't know what it was. I couldn't imagine this, but like, there's always something that told me you're going to be in business. You know, ever since I was young, I was in high school, and there's a entrepreneurial business academy. It was like they picked like 5 or 6 students from the grade, and like that was a business course or something. So I was in it.
All right, next question. So what 3 pieces of advice would you give to college students who want to become entrepreneurs?
Don't listen to what anyone tells you, good or bad. Only listen to what you know and what you're thinking. If you believe it's right, then you're right. You know, if you believe it's wrong, then it's wrong. You know, it's your life, it's your reality. So don't let anyone squash your dream before you give it a shot. Don't let anyone ever do that. And no matter how ridiculous. That's one. Don't worry so much about money. All right, as long as you're fulfilling your purpose, and as long as you're living righteously and doing good business where you're giving back to people, you're treating people right, you're being fair. If you're treating your friends and your family and everyone working for you as such, then everyone will want to support you because you want to support them. And it's just support your friends. That will be number 2. Okay. Support your friends in any one of their endeavors, even if it's just liking a post on Facebook, you know, or sharing something that they do. You know, that's so important starting out. That would mean so much. Because like, people do that. Some people like I barely even know. It's like, oh my God, like, thank you so much, you know. So definitely support your friends is number 2. Yeah, number 3 would be, don't worry about your grades. Don't worry about your GPA. That's not who you are. Don't let that mark your intelligence. You're an entire human being. Don't let your grades dictate how smart you think you are. Yeah,
and just going off your first point, I would say that like, when people try to bash your whatever you're trying to do. I would just say use that as like a motivational tool to like prove them wrong.
Some people tell me that, give me that advice, and that's great that some people are competitive and think that way.
Yeah.
I'm sensitive, so I kind of crawl away and think, oh, like, they are right. I can't do it.
So you just like to like shun them and be like, I don't really care what you have to say.
Right. It's not motivation. It's not a deterrent. It's just not there. It's just, that's your opinion. That's fine that you have it, but I'm not going to let it affect me inside.
Okay. Cool. All right. Next question. What would you say are the top 3 skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
How many?
3.
3 skills to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Believing in yourself is absolutely number 1. Believing, as corny as that sounds and as cliche as that sounds, you have to believe in yourself before anyone else does. Because if you don't believe in yourself, the outside world isn't going to. That's number 1. Number 2, you're changing your life. You're not starting a business. You're changing your life. If you want to embody what it means to be an entrepreneur, you're living a life that is a business.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I have Try Vegan, I have this, I have that, I have that, but none of them are who I am. Like, there's a difference between an entrepreneur and a business owner. Like, there could be someone who owns one business and it's successful. They're not necessarily an entrepreneur, whereas an entrepreneur would take that one successful business, make another one, replicate it, and start bouncing it around.
Right.
So, yeah. And then relationships are going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult if you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to grow and you get with someone who's not growing as fast as you, because that'll really hold you back.
Mm-hmm.
That will really hold. If you're with someone and you're trying to do this thing where you're going to be traveling throughout the world and you're going to be doing all that and you're going to be having a weird schedule, you can't be with someone who's in a 9 to 5 mentality, where they're off on the weekends and they do this and they do that. Mm-hmm. Because no matter what, they're going to want to stay with what's comfortable with them. So they're going to want you to not do that. Unless they're fully supportive and they quit their job even because they really believe in you. But be very careful with the relationships in the time of growth.
Great.
Wait until you get to where you want to be and then commit.
All right. 4th question. What have been some of your failures and what have you learned from them?
That's such a difficult word because I don't even peg anything as a failure. I don't even say I failed at that. I always say all right, that wasn't a successful event, but I learned.
Right. So
I learned what my market was. It took me a while to learn what my market was. Because I didn't realize that in the beginning, in 2015, I had this food truck, and all you knew about food trucks was food truck festivals. So I would bring my food truck to food truck festivals, high-end festivals that other trucks weren't getting into,
mm-hmm.
but vegans don't go to these things. You learn what your market is. That's what you really have to learn. When you're starting off and there is no market, you have to learn where it is.
Right. All right, next question. Outline your typical day. How many hours do you work a day on average?
How many questions do you have?
10 more, but we don't have to do them all.
Oh, fuck, I'm sorry for taking up all your time.
No, they're just sample questions. We really don't have to do all of them.
Yeah, so a typical day for me would be I wake up, I go to the gym, pick up t-shirts if I need to print shirts, I pick up supplies if I have to go to Restaurant Depot, I come back home, I reply to emails, I hang out, I make some lunch, I come up with more ideas, I have meetings with people, do podcasts. I'm all over the place. I don't have a typical day really.
Okay.
I'm just out doing whatever.
All right, next question. How has being an entrepreneur affected your family life?
Wow, that is heavy. Being an entrepreneur has affected my family life in such a dramatic way because, I'm up against a bunch of people. I'm up against family who love and support me but don't agree with what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. So as much as they love and support me and want me to do the best I want to do, they want me to be safe. So what's safe to them is a job. What's safe to them is a stable income. Whereas I can see that's not how you make money. You don't exchange time for money. All the lessons I've learned as far as money goes is you exchange ideas for money. You make things for money. You have a product and you sell it for money. You replicate it. So it's like you're up against that. So there's a lot of strain on the relationship because there's a lot of things that are just not being left said because they kind of don't agree. So, but it's just growth. It's really just growth. You get through those phases and you get to where you need to go and you just show them that this is what I had in mind the whole time. I'm sorry you weren't alone. Sorry that we had to go through that to get here, but thank God we're here now.
Mm-hmm. So you guys are all comfortable with it now?
It's gotten ugly again. Every time there's a new step of growth, it's like you have to face that demon again.
Yeah.
It's like you have the parents going, I don't know what you're doing. You need to focus on one thing. And to their defense, in the past 3 months, I've just exploded. I've been doing I have a podcast now all of a sudden, and it's made iTunes history. That doesn't even make sense. It's just an idea I had. I haven't even released the first one a month ago. So like they can't even catch up right now. And so when I say I have a new idea, like I want to buy a dilapidated place in Ewing to create a cafe and have my food truck out of there and have the meal delivery service out of there, they don't agree with it at all. They say, no, don't do that. But if I ever listened to them once, I would have been back in a retail job.
Right.
And I want that for myself.
So how do you generate new ideas?
Meditation.
Okay.
Easy question.
Cool.
Meditation, I don't generate the ideas come to me. It's like I'm a vessel through which they flow, and I have the ability to bring them to life, so I do it.
Nice. Where did your initial funding capital come from, and how did you go about getting it? And how did you obtain investors for your venture?
Investors are difficult. It's difficult to get someone to believe in you, so that's why you have to believe in yourself and invest in yourself. So I took my money out of the stock market, invested it in my human body. Took 25,000 of my dollars and made it what we have now. Yeah.
All right. And you didn't borrow any money, or?
That was my money.
That's it?
Credit card debt. I constantly get into credit card debt up into my eyeballs and then get out of it again.
Yeah.
It's like money becomes like the tide. Because you understand that you have to put some out to make it come back in. You have to put some out to make it come back in. And then eventually it'll just level off somewhere.
What has been your most satisfying moment in business?
Oh my God, dude, I can't even answer that. It's just, there have been so many times where I cry because I can't believe I've reached that height. Like I'll be driving back from EDC Orlando in my food truck and I'll just start crying because I can't believe I'm there.
Right.
But like now, like I'm on the path to have a meal delivery service and I have this podcast, like just driving in my car, I just feel so amazing. I can't believe that this is my life.
Yeah, you just get emotional. You're just like proud of yourself and stuff like that, right?
Yes, it's just every step has just been, every step of growth, getting to the other side of growth feels that good, you know, every time.
Nice.
So just it's like I'm addicted to growth at this point, you know?
Yeah. What do you feel is the major difference between entrepreneurs and those who work for someone else?
Well, we're all sheep until we realize we're shepherds. And that's basically exactly what that is.
How do you go about marketing your business? What has been your most successful form of marketing?
Just the only marketing I can do is, aside from like Facebook and social media and all that, which is, you know, that's, you don't even count that. It's just basic.
Right.
Is you reach out as a food truck to these vendors that you know you want to be involved with in these festivals. You know, just get that message out that way, or just because that's my first line. You know, the first line I have to cross is getting into these festivals. So I have to have those vendor coordinators that I'm friends with. And then from there, once I'm in these festivals, I have to make money and serve the public. So it's like a few like hurdles I have to jump before I can actually start doing my thing.
Right. In one word, characterize your life as an entrepreneur.
One word?
One word.
Fuck.
Is that it? Is that
That's
the word?
it. Fuck. Like in every sense of it.
I like it. We'll go with that. What are some of the biggest mistakes you've made?
Smoking cigarettes, but I quit that. But as far as like businesses go, there's no mistakes, just lessons. You know, you don't make it's like you bump your elbow, just keep going. You know, so I guess that's the thing. As long as you treat it like that. Some people, I guess, they get that same bump and they just can't handle it.
Yeah, it like drives them crazy or something.
You go to a festival. My first few festivals was really ugly. Like, I would make $300 for trying to work all week to get to that point, or I would lose money. Like, there are festivals where I lose $700. You know, and that's tough. Yeah. So I mean, you make mistakes and you learn.
Yeah. What sacrifices have you had to make to be a successful entrepreneur?
I don't like that word or that question or anything about it.
What was it?
Like, what sacrifices have you had to make? I haven't made, and I genuinely love what I'm doing. So it's not like I'm sacrificing time to it. It's like I'm dedicating time to it. It's more like, you know, that's why I don't like that. I don't like that word sacrifice. It's more of a dedication. Yeah. Like I dedicate my time to doing this.
Yeah. It's like something you would volunteer for, but
it's
like something you're willing to do.
Exactly.
Without any limitations.
Yeah. Regardless of money, this is what I would want to be doing.
Cool. All right, so this is the last question. If you were conducting this interview, what questions would you ask?
I don't fucking know. If I was conducting this interview, what would I ask? What would I ask myself? How the fuck did you do it? That's what I would say. I'd say, how did you do it? And my response would be, I don't fucking know. I just did it.
Nice.
And that's how you have to do it. You know, so many people are like, question it. You know, like so many people have so many questions about how to do it. You know, like how we have to do this. We have to do it this way. We have to think about it this way.
Right.
let's just do it.
Yeah.
And then as it's happening, figure it out. You know, you don't have to have the answers like right away. As long as we start doing it and figure it out, then we'll figure it out. Because when I've noticed like trying to get people to start doing things, like start their own business or whatever, it's like they're hesitant or resistant. Or we can't do it that way, or we have to do it this way, or I would want to do it this way instead. All right, that's in the future, but like let's talk right now. Let's take those steps. Let's make a shitty product until we get it good, and then sell that good product.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying release that shitty product. I'm just saying let's get to the point where you're gonna blow money in the beginning. You're gonna just blow it. You have to learn. So just get through that time and do it, and then you know a year is a tremendous amount of time to have a business. You can learn so much about the business in a year. So just do it. That's my advice.
Yeah, talk is cheap. Don't talk about it, be about it. All right, I mean, that's all the questions I have for you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for this class interview.
Hey, if you want to catch up with Vince on your own, then you need to visit catchingupwithvince.com.